Hey everyone, before we get started, take a second to like and subscribe to the show. It's the best way to help us share great information with more people. Thank you. Welcome to Care Lab, everybody.
Welcome to Care Lab. We have a really special episode today
because we're in person and we wanted to do this on purpose because instead of just talking about the things that we care about, like home modifications, we thought maybe we should show you.
Yeah, that's right. We talk about this stuff all the time, but I think it's a lot more meaningful if you can actually see what it is and how we might reason through this process. So we're actually here in my house today.
Yes, because there's already been some changes made to your house. And the sleuths that we are as OTs, it was easy to notice like maybe what they were thinking and what they were trying to accomplish. And so we thought it would be a great time to show you how you might consider making some changes in order to make a space work for you.
Yeah, so obviously, if you are listening to this right now, you probably have already figured out that this might be a good episode to watch. If you're listening on Spotify, the video is already there. You can just go ahead and switch over to the video. If you're not listening on Spotify, that's totally fine. Just head over to our YouTube channel. We're going to link it in the show notes, and you can watch the whole thing there.
Okay, so since we're in your house, maybe we should just get started.
Let's get started.
Yeah. Okay, so we are in... Actually, what is this room? We're in a den?
We call it the den.
Okay.
But I mean, I think it's had many uses. It's also like our office. It's where it's the only place that we have like a TV in the house. And it has, anyway, it's probably had many uses over the years. One of which is what we're about to talk about today.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So we're here in a den, and tell me like what you think is going on in the history, because we don't have like a before and after. So we're going to think about the before and after as we talk about how they created a bathroom in here.
Yeah. So this house was built in the 20s. It was pretty traditional in the 20s. If you had a sort of really symmetrical room framed up like this with a fireplace in the middle, to have a window on either side, and then below the windows, you would have shelving or storage. Again, like very, very symmetrical. The reason that I think that is how this room originally was is because there are actually windows on either side of this fireplace. One is now in a closet, and the other one is in said murder bathroom. You can't see the one in the murder bathroom. You'll see why. It's kind of all covered up, but we can tell from the front of the house that there are two windows there. So probably that's how this was before. And I think that's helpful just to have context of what did these folks start with when they were trying to figure out how to make it so someone could live on the first floor of the house?
And why do you think it was important that they needed to add a bathroom here?
Well, there are, as you know, Brandy, there are no other bathrooms on the main level of this house. So probably when the house was built, there were no bathrooms at all on the main level of the house. There are stairs galore. Listen, y'all, we talk all the time about thinking ahead and buying an accessible house.
And we're not going to talk about when you bought this house because it's not that long ago.
It's not the most accessible house in the world. But someone already had to solve this problem, which is why this is actually a great example, I think, to go over.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's a closet.
This is a closet, yes.
Okay, and then this is the bathroom.
This is the bathroom. Are you guys ready? Are you ready to see the murder bathroom?
Okay, so we are in this closet turned bathroom. First, lay us out. How big is this?
It's pretty tiny. So there are definitely some parameters here where if you were a larger person, this probably still would not work for you.
Okay.
But so the width of the doorway, we're looking at about 29 inches.
Okay.
And that does not, so that is bigger than this is without an offset hinge. So offset hinges, which I think you can get on Ask Sammy.
You totally can.
Are these really great tools that you can use to swing the door all the way out of the way and fully take advantage of the entire width of the frame of the door. Right now, without an offset hinge, which probably didn't exist back in the day.
I'm sure.
You're looking at about 26 and a half inches.
So help me understand this offset hinge thing a little bit. Can you show us like what that actually means?
Yeah. So this is right now a traditional hinge, right? So there's one part of the hinge is on the frame and the other part of the hinge is on the door. And then, the door just swings on that. With an offset hinge, it's basically like a almost like a double jointed, like double hinged system. And so what that does is it allows the door to swing fully out of the way. And so instead of there being this part of the width of the door that is taken up by the actual door itself when it's open, you can have the door swing all the way out of the way, and you can take advantage of the entire width of the frame. But it's kind of like a double hinge system.
Which is really important here because how thick is this door?
I mean, this door, listen, this is an old door. It's pretty thick. The door itself is about 2 inches thick, but it's not like flush off of the frame. So including that, it's another inch, which is why we go from having a 29-inch doorway to actually having a 26-inch doorway without using an offset hinge. So that's one really quick, easy way that you could actually improve this situation if you needed to in the future.
Makes total sense. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the doorway, the usable space right now, you told us is 26 inches.
Yes, the usable space is 26 inches. And then let's go inside the bathroom. Okay, so standing inside the bathroom, from wall to wall, we've got 47 inches here.
Okay. So just under 4 feet.
And just under 45 inches here. So under 4 feet. We're about like 8.5-ish.
So under a 4x4 square of space, and we have access to all three things you need in a bathroom.
We sure do. If you've ever been in a bathroom on a boat, this is a very, very similar concept here. So we have a sink, we have a toilet, and yes, we even have a shower. So you could technically go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, and take a shower at the same time. There are also mirrors everywhere here for some reason, so you could watch yourself do it, which is why my husband also calls this the efficient narcissist bathroom.
Okay, but where's all that water going?
Well, that's why I call it the murder bathroom. Because there's a drain in the floor here. And as you can see, so like I said earlier, behind this wall, there's actually a window. So the wall was fully enclosed. You can't see it here, but even the ceiling is tiled. So this is a complete wet room, would be kind of the name for it. There's a hole in the floor that functions as a drain if you're using it as a shower. Have we used this? Not as people, but we do bathe our dog in here.
Accessibility works for all kinds of situations.
It sure does. Yeah, it's actually been really handy because we have a big dog and it's hard to get her up the stairs. So we bathe her in here. But yeah, so what else was I going to say? Oh, you can, every single surface of this bathroom can get wet, including.
Oh, they thought of everything.
They thought of that.
I love that because I was just thinking that. I was like, what are we doing about the toilet paper? You're going to have soggy roll of toilet paper.
That's right. So literally the only thing that you have to do when you come in here is like take out the extra toilet paper and then it's a fully enclosed wet room.
That's great. They even did that with the lighting too. So if you flip the switch on the light, you can see.
Which probably makes me look less scary, like it is a murder bathroom.
That's a fully enclosed light container, so that doesn't get wet on the inside. And the same thing they did at the top too, to make sure that everything was protected. Yep. So they thought about the fact that they were using this super small space in a wet way.
You probably also noticed that there are grab bars in this bathroom, which is one of the big clues that this was put in for accessibility and not just so that they could have a full bathroom down on the bottom floor. There are actually grab bars across horizontally for if you were stepping in here, and then again for getting on and off the toilet.
There you go. Okay, so how might we do some things differently now? Because it exists and it's pretty good, but there are some challenges in here already.
That's right. So one we already talked about, putting an offset hinge on this door would be a huge increase in how wide the space is to allow someone else to get in, and a very, very cheap and easy fix. You could just do that in an afternoon, no problem.
Yep.
One of the other big barriers, though, I want to direct your attention down. So as you can see, there is a step that you have to get over in order to access the bathroom slash wet room. They did this clearly so that there was a way to keep water from getting out if you did need to use it as a shower. However, that does create a barrier. Something that I might do differently is knowing that this section of the house has a crawl space underneath it. What I would probably do if I could was actually, instead of having a step here, I would put in some extra drainage across the way in addition to the middle of the floor drain, and instead make this a curbless shower. Because a lot of times if you have a crawl space, that gives you a little bit more room to put the plumbing lower, and put the shower pan lower so that you can actually have a roll in or curbless shower situation.
But one thing I want to bring up about this is they probably also did this to save some money, because it does cost more money to go down into the crawl space and create a fully flush area. And they were going to try to keep the water in anyway. So instead they put the shower pan inside of here, tiled it. And that's why the difference between here and here is 3 inches. So that still gives you an opportunity to do something yourself and turn a closet into a shower, as long as the person you're designing this for is going to be able to step over this now and in the future.
One other kind of nitpicky thing that I might change about this bathroom, if I were designing it from the beginning, is it has this shelf here, which is obviously really handy. You need to have somewhere to store things, to put things. So you need to have some kind of shelf or storage in a bathroom. However, this is fixed, and it makes it really difficult to access, like, for example, the top of the toilet, if the toilet needed to be repaired, or you needed to get in there for cleaning. So what I would do instead is I would either make this so that it could flip up and down, or that it was just a removable shelf.
Okay, so it has grab bars in here, which is great. If I were doing this over, though, I would probably put this grab bar at an angle. And the reason being, number one, as a taller person sitting in here, I need some leverage, so I really would prefer to hold on up here. And when you put an angle grab bar, that gives that latitude of where you can hold on to, and also gives you better leverage. So here, I need to hold here, keep a good grip, and be able to pull myself up into standing, or use this one to pull forward. So on the toilet walls, I like to have angled ones. It gives better accessibility for different body types. And if you're standing to use the bathroom, you then have something higher up to reach as well.
The last thing I want to talk about is something that I think they did really, really well when they originally did the bathroom. And that is that they thought about temperature. So there's actually, on the light switch out here, there's an option to turn on a heat lamp that is built into the ceiling there. This is a really important thing that often is not thought about, but people get cold. One of the most important things about comfort when you're bathing is not getting cold, especially if you have to have someone help you, if you're moving a little bit slower. This bathroom, it's an old house, so it gets pretty chilly in there. Having the heat lamp built in was a really great idea. That doesn't cost a whole lot of extra money. It really just requires that forethought when you're planning to put in the space.
That sounds like a nice to have, but why might it be a need to have? Who would really benefit from having a warmer space and have a better functional outcome because of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So definitely it's a nice to have. I would say that for the cost to the benefit, I would actually put it more in like the need to have category for most people, because bathing one is supposed to be a positive experience. If it's not a positive experience, then you're going to be in a situation where people don't want to bathe, right? So making sure that the space is comfortable and warm is a really important part of that. Folks who have arthritis in particular really benefit from having a nice warm space as opposed to a cold space. It's just easier on the joints. It helps our tissue to be more flexible, so it's less likely to be kind of like creaking and cracking, causing pain or causing injury. So that's a population that really benefits often from having a heat lamp or some kind of heating in the bathroom in order to make it more comfortable, but also less painful and make their mobility a little bit easier as well. Were there other populations you were thinking about?
I would also throw in anybody who has trouble with tone. So if they've had a stroke, or if they have cerebral palsy or something that causes them to have really tight muscles already, the cold can make it so that you're even tighter. And so this really challenging task of taking a shower is now even more challenging because you're not moving at your best.
That's a great point. Yeah. So what Brandy is talking about is this idea of like hypertonia, meaning that there's too much muscle tone in a certain part of the body that's been affected by a neurological condition. And as she said, people are often susceptible to cold. When it's cold, that tone gets tighter and tighter. It locks you up, and that makes it so much harder to do any kind of voluntary movement, or even if voluntary movement isn't possible, if you're a caregiver and you're trying to care for someone and clean them when they have high tone, making sure they're warm so that muscle can relax is a really, really big benefit.
So I hope that that was helpful for you. And one of the things that we've noticed as being challenging and that occupational therapists do all over the country is to do that exact kind of assessment that we just did on a space and figure out what could be done here within your budget in order to make that space work for your needs. So if you have a space that you'd like us to review, send us a video or send us a picture and we'll be happy to do it on the show and give you some advice about how the place can be modified to meet your needs. And
if you're in the Kansas City area, then we'd be happy to come out to your house and do it live. So if you're in the Kansas City area, or even if you're not, and you have a space that you would love to get some advice on, send it to us, let us know, and we can take care of that right here on Care Lab.
There you go. And for more content like this, and so you can never miss the next video or podcast, please like and subscribe. Share it with a friend. We really hope that this is a useful tool that can help you think about how to handle your space. And our goal is to be a resource. So please share it, and that helps other people find the show too.
Thanks so much. We'll see you back here next Friday, right here on Care Lab.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.